Hey, welcome back. And we're talking about what, to me, are the most two important modules that you are about to undertake that we've ever done in Challenge history. To me, this is the absolute difference between people who are really, really successful in their niche and those that just make it or don't make it at all. And we're talking about market leadership. So what is it? Okay, we've talked about why we're doing it. What is it? That's what I want to cover now. Let's think about the things that it is. The first thing that you need to understand is that market leadership is a step-by-step process. Now, this is controversial. There's no question about that. Indeed, and I feel like terrified when I first came out with it. Now I'm very confident about it, but when I first broached this, I was terrified because some of the best marketers on the planet, some of the people that I totally admire, guys like Seth Godin, who wrote the incredible book Tribes. Now, he himself says you need to lead a tribe, but the step-by-step nature of how do you become a tribe leader, how do you become a market leader, he couldn't tell you. You had to find your own way. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading this and I'm thinking, hang on a second, I actually know. I know because I've seen it done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And what was amazing to me was that every single one was a completely common thing, and it was a step-by-step process. And it required not only step-by-step, but you had to be absolutely consistent, which is why I suspect it doesn't come naturally or easily to everybody. And that's one of the reasons we've been trying to get you to do half an hour a day. I know a lot of you cram on the weekends. That's okay. However you can do it, I don't mind. But to do market leadership properly, consistency is the key. It's doing a little bit each day rather than trying to jam and just do one big thing every month or, a couple of weeks here, nothing. It's consistency. Consistency is crucial to market leadership. The other thing it is it's long term. It doesn't happen overnight. Literally does not happen overnight. I'm going to give you some examples soon of some of my favorite market leadership examples. You're going to love them, and they're actually very public. You may not have realized that that's what they were, but that's what they are. And to really explain the nature of these step-by-step processes. And the trick is the consistency of them doing it day in, day out. And that's what we're going to show you how to do. And make it, most importantly, and the third thing I wanted to mention, of course, was fun. It can be fun, right? Market leadership is the most fun part of this whole process. In fact, you need it because some of the other things are a grind that we have to do. When we're doing backlinking and stuff, the market leadership doing in your market can be a wonderful, wonderful, rewarding and fulfilling part of it. Now, what isn't market leadership? One thing is it's not easy for most, and I think the single biggest reason for that is because it's literally the psychological connotations of what it means. So I'm going to attack those in another video, but that is definitely a part of it. It's not easy. It doesn't come naturally to people. It doesn't mean that it's hard work. Quite the opposite. Remember, I just said it was fun. But to get this done and get it done right, you need to be comfortable doing what you're doing. And it doesn't come naturally to people. But once you get into it, you'll love it. Absolutely love it. So we need to do that. And one of the things I'm most proud of over these next two modules is we'll show you how to do that, and easily and with fun. Lots of fun doing it too. The other thing that you need to understand about market leadership and Twitter and social media, because we'll be using these tools to create market leadership, is that, newsflash, it won't make you a cent. People who tell you that you can make money from your Twitter account or your Facebook page or any of these things have got rocks in their head. I mean, seriously, rocks in their head. I mean, it's just not true. What all of these things can do, however, is that they absolutely can make you a market leader. And by being a market leader and by having influence in a marketplace, you will then make a lot of money. You'll do really, really well in your market. I bet you can think right now of people you think about hobbies for a second. Photography, one of mine, obviously. there are people who instantly come to mind, Scott Kelby, and David Disherman, who are people who practiced what I'm about to teach you and have gone on to make huge amounts of money and have, more importantly, I think, influence in that marketplace because of the things they did. And the amazing, phenomenal thing is it's a step-by-step process. It really is a step-by-step process. And that's what I'm so excited to be teaching you this time. Now, I mentioned about tribes, and I mentioned about some examples that I'm going to show you in a screencast coming up after this. Let's talk about the negatives for a second, because I really want to get these down on paper, get them out there so I can smash them down. The first thing that is considered a negative is just this whole thing with leadership. Because unfortunately most of us in high school, the concept of people who were leaders were, well, wankers. And if you were a leader, you probably were quite enjoying yourself. Most of us were being wedgied and being stuck up on coat hooks in the locker room. And hence this connotation of any sort of leadership is really rankles with people. But it's not that. You think about it. The greatest leaders of our lifetime were the servants, the best servants to their market. I think of Mother Teresa, I think of Gandhi. They were people who put themselves under their market, as servants to their market. And I think it's a beautiful way to think of it. And I think it gives me comfort too to do that. Second thing that's a negative, of course, is that it almost by definition means that you have to put your views and opinions out there, your thoughts. This is a scary thing for a lot of people. They thought, I want to get into this online thing so I can be anonymous, so I don't have to deal with anybody. Well, that is possible. There is no question about that online. More possible than any other thing that you can do in the planet. But I've got some bad news, and I just want to be blunt. You'll be fine until somebody comes into your niche who will provide the services as good as you, match your prices, beat your prices, but most importantly, they practice market leadership. And at that point, you're in deep trouble. Sorry, these are the facts. So you need to find a way to be a market leader that is comfortable to you, using a media that is comfortable to you. And we're going to go all through this, so don't worry. For some people, doing what I'm doing now will be terrifying to them. It's probably terrifying to you watching this, but I'm quite cool with that. But there are many, many ways to practice market leadership and many media in which we can do that. We just have to find one that you're comfortable with. So that's a very, very important point. People are shy and they worry about that. And, as I say, the answer to that is pick your media. If you're shy, maybe writing is your thing. If you're not shy, video might be a good idea. All of these things we'll work out. We'll find out what the best thing is for you and we'll work with that. Because that's the good news, that you've got a whole lot of options. The third thing, and this is a biggie, this is a really big one. As soon as you start sticking your head up, as soon as you start having an opinion, something may happen to you that has never ever happened before in your life. You know what that is? That is, some people will disagree with you and perhaps do it in ways that will astound you. In the online world, they call these people trolls, where they just, for whatever reason, will not only disagree with you, but do it in such a personal and horrible way. It freaks people out whenever this happens, and it will happen. As soon as you start to get any sort of market leadership in your marketplace, it will happen. And it ruins your day. It really does, because all of a sudden, for the first time, there's somebody who sort of violently disagrees with you, which most people never ever encounter. Most people never ever actually create a great business either. So what do you do? Do you pull your head in and forget about being an online business, or do you learn to deal with it? And the answer is an obvious one. You learn to deal with it. And we'll show you how to do that. But most importantly, I want you to think about this. There is not one person in human history, not one, that hasn't had their detractors. Nobody had. Think about it. Most leaders of countries were barely elected by just over half of the population. The other half didn't want them. And the percentage of that violently didn't want them. I mentioned Gandhi before. Did he have people who didn't like him and had his detractors? Boy, did he. Did Mother Teresa? Sure did. She was an extremely controversial figure. Everybody has it, and this is a comfort to me, because what I realised is, as I started doing this market leadership thing, is that there's enormous comfort to be had in the fact that it happens to everybody. And once you realise that it happens to everybody, and it's not personal, it's just a sign that you're actually starting to achieve something in your marketplace, it's a lot easier to deal with, which is fantastic. Okay, so we've talked about that. Now, this first module, next I'm going to show you a video showing 2 of my favourite market leadership examples so you can see what I'm talking about. This next module is about breathing in, fueling up. We've already introduced you to the concept of fueling up, where we're going to take that and amp it up by 10. Because most people are saying, well, Ed, I've just figured out this market. I don't know anything about it. Not a problem. After this week, you'll realise that it'll take you minutes to become good enough to create content in any market. And indeed, the cool thing is, while you're fueling up, while you're learning, you're actually marketing into your marketplace. You are actually providing cool information into your marketplace. You're building your lists. You're building your following just by learning. And that's what's so awesome about this module. In the following module, we're then going to turn that passive switch to active and show you how to do that. But this week, we're going to do passive. The final thing I'll say, and it's quite appropriate that I'm standing up doing this, is that market leadership and these sorts of things is so fun, and once you get into it, it's so cool that you may find yourself all consumed by it. And that would be a problem too, because as important as all this work is, the core stuff that brings you in the money each week, what we call around here critical focus time, all of those things that are around here, they are best done, as you'll often hear me say, standing up. And that's why I use my iPad to do most of it, or on my iPhone when I'm in a bank queue. And so we're going to talk about some of the tools where you can use smartphones and just control it, because it can become all consuming. And we don't want that, because don't forget, we're here to create a business, to find a business for you. So that is really important. All right, with that, let's watch some examples and then get stuck in tomorrow. The only action point for today is to do a 10-minute fueling up, 10 minutes of free writing on your article, and then if you've got something you wanted to edit, that would be fantastic too. So get ready, folks, because this is something that I've been thinking about and wanting to deliver for 2 years, and we're going to do it right here, right now. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be awesome. So I'll speak to you soon.